They pushed you down, again and again, not by accident, not by mistake, but with full intention. They wanted to see you on your knees, struggling, gasping, drowning in the weight of everything they threw at you. The betrayal cut deep, the rejection seared through your soul, and the abandonment left you standing alone in the cold, screaming into an empty void that never answered back. Their words weren't just insults. They were knives, sinking into your skin, carving doubt into your bone. Their laughter wasn't just noise. It was the sound of chains, locking you into the prison they built for you. And their silence, that was the loudest of all. That was the confirmation that you didn't matter, that in their eyes, you were nothing. The weight of their judgment pressed against your chest, crushing the air from your lungs. Every whispered word, every dismissive glance, every time they turned away, it added bricks to the walls closing in around you. You tried to speak, but your voice was swallowed whole. You tried to fight, but your hands met nothing but the ghosts of your failures. You tried to rise, but their grip was firm, holding you down, pressing you into the dirt like you were never meant to grow, never meant to stand tall. They buried you alive. They thought the darkness would break you. They thought if they covered you in enough doubt, if they drowned you in enough pain, if they smothered every last spark of hope inside you, then you would finally disappear, that you would finally accept your place at the bottom, silent, forgotten. The loneliness wrapped itself around you like a shroud, whispering lies in your ear, telling you it was over before you ever had a chance to begin. And for a moment, just a moment, you believed it. You weren't just falling. They wanted you to stay down. This wasn't a test of endurance. It was a sentence, a life they crafted for you, one where you were meant to suffer, meant to struggle, meant to break under the weight of their expectations. They wanted to watch you crumble, to see your spirit fracture, to confirm that you were never strong enough, never good enough, never meant to rise above the dirt they threw on you. But they forgot one thing. Burial and planting looked the same at first, and they didn't realize what was growing in the darkness. There were moments you wanted to quit, moments where the exhaustion became unbearable, where the weight on your chest made every breath feel like a battle you weren't sure you could win. You stared at the walls closing in, your mind drowning in doubt, your heart sinking under the pressure of expectations you never agreed to carry. Every voice inside your head whispered the same thing. You're not enough, not strong enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. And maybe they were right. Maybe everything they said was true. Maybe this was all you would ever be. A fading shadow, a forgotten name, a body moving through life with no fire left inside. But something wouldn't let you break. Something deeper than word, older than fear, stronger than their judgment. It wasn't loud, not yet. It wasn't screaming, not like the voices telling you to quit. It was just a whisper, faint, almost imperceptible, a flicker of something buried beneath the pain, a question, a challenge, a choice. Will you stay broken? They saw your silence as surrender. They saw your stillness and thought it meant defeat, but they didn't know what was brewing inside you. They mistook your quiet for weakness. They mistook your pain for passivity. They thought you had accepted their version of you, the small, broken version they wanted you to be. They thought they had won, but they were wrong, because buried beneath the ashes, beneath the rubble of everything they tried to destroy, something was stirring. It wasn't fully formed, not yet. It wasn't ready to roar, but it was there, an ember, a spark, the first trembling breath of something ancient and unbreakable, the first sign that you weren't done, that you wouldn't stay down, that no matter how much they tried to bury you, something inside refused to be extinguished. And in that moment, the decision was made. You weren't going to beg for their approval. You weren't going to wait for their permission. You weren't going to let their words shape you, define you, limit you. Number you were going to ride, not for them, not to prove them wrong, not to change their minds or seek their validation, but because something inside you demanded it. because something inside you refused to stay broken, because something inside you, despite everything, still burned, and they had no idea what was coming. The war didn't end when you decided to rise. No, that's when it truly began. Because the greatest battle was never against them. It was against yourself, the version of you that still clung to the past, to the pain, to the belief that maybe they were right, the part of you that still feared failure, rejection, humiliation. It wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself wrong, about shattering every excuse, every doubt, every lie you had let sink into your bones. And that fight was brutal. It wasn't glorious. It wasn't cinematic. It was ugly. It was raw. It was real. You crawled through fire, not once, not twice, but over and over again. Every step forward burned. Every movement sent shockwaves of pain through your soul. Your hands bled from clawing your way out of the pit they threw you into. Your heart screamed from carrying years of wounds, years of being told you were never enough. There were moments where the pain was so deep, so relentless, that you questioned everything. Why keep going? Why fight for something that feels so far away? Why not just let go and surrender? But then something clicked. A realization, a shift so small yet so powerful that it changed everything. Pain isn't just suffering. Pain is transformation. The fire that burned you was the same fire that forged you. The pressure that crushed you was the same pressure that hardened you. Every scar wasn't just a reminder of what you endured. It was proof that you survived, that you stood in the fire, that you felt its rage, that you faced its fury, and you did not break. They told you pain was weakness, that wounds were signs of failure. But what if they were wrong? What if pain wasn't the end of you? What if pain was your beginning? What if every heartbreak, every betrayal, every moment of despair wasn't proof of your destruction, but proof of your becoming? Because now you see it, don't you? Now you understand. The ones who never felt pain never became anything. The ones who never struggled never grew. The ones who lived soft, easy lives stayed soft and easy to break. But you were forced into war. You were forced to fight. You were shaped by hardship, sharpened by adversity, sculpted by the very pain they thought would ruin you. And now you're something else entirely. Something stronger, something relentless. Something they will never understand because they feared your pain. But you embraced it, and that changed everything. They thought they had you figured out. They labeled you, dismissed you, buried you beneath their indifference. In their eyes, you were weak, you were lost, you were nothing. They mocked your struggle, laughed at your pain, and walked away, convinced that your story had already ended. But they didn't see what was happening beneath the surface. They didn't see the fire rekindling in the ashes of your past. They didn't see the quiet storm gathering in your soul. They didn't hear the sharpening of your mind, the forging of your spirit, the silent construction of something they would soon fear. You moved in silence. You didn't waste time proving yourself with words. You didn't argue, didn't seek their approval, didn't beg for validation. You let them think they had won. You let them believe their version of you was real, because while they were celebrating your downfall, you were building in the shadows, in the quiet, away from their eyes, away from their doubt. And with every day that passed, you grew sharper, stronger. At first, it was just a shift in the way you carried yourself, a straightening of the spine, a steadiness in your hand. Then, the fire in your eyes changed. No longer frantic, no longer desperate, but cold, precise, unwavering. Determination carved itself into your bone, replacing every trace of hesitation. They still didn't see it. They still thought you were weak, but soon they would learn, because there's a hunger inside you now, a hunger for redemption, a hunger for every lost moment, every stolen opportunity, every ounce of respect they denied you. This isn't about revenge. This is about reclaiming what was always yours. This is about refusing to be forgotten, refusing to be erased, refusing to let your story end in defeat. They thought they broke you. They thought they won. But they made one fatal mistake. They underestimated you. And that is a mistake they will never make again. There comes a moment in every fight where the choice is no longer avoidable. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more second-guessing. Just one final push. A breaking point where you either collapse or you rise. For you, that moment wasn't just a choice. It was a reckoning. Something snapped. Maybe it was another betrayal. Maybe it was one more door slammed in your face. One more reminder that the world expected nothing from you. Maybe it was the weight of your own reflection, staring back at you, daring you to accept a life you knew you weren't meant to live. Whatever it was undeniable, unstoppable, a force so deep, so primal, that it left no room for hesitation. And in that instant, you understood something. You were never meant to stay in the dirt. You were meant to conquer it. They buried you. But they didn't realize that all they did was plant a seed. They tried to crush you, but all they did was make you unbreakable. They tried to drown you, but all they did was teach you how to breathe under pressure. And now you rise, not slowly, not timidly, but with the force of a storm gathering strength, with the precision of a blade being forged in the fire. Every hardship, every scar, every moment of pain, it was all shaping you, refining you, turning you into something they never saw coming. The first step forward felt impossible, but then came another and another. The weight that once held you down, it no longer had power over you. The doubt that once consumed you, it had been burned away in the fire of your own resilience. And then, your first victory, small maybe, just a crack in the wall, just a moment where you felt something you hadn't felt in so long. Power, the realization that you could win, that you could push back, that you could rewrite the story they tried to write for you. Because this was only the beginning. They tried to break you, but all they did was wake something inside you, something that would never be caged again. Something has changed, not just on the surface, not just in the way you stand a little taller, speak with a little more certainty. No, this is something deeper, something permanent. You are no longer the same person they once knew. The fear in your eyes, gone. The hesitation in your voice, erased. The weight of their opinions, their doubts, their ridicule, it no longer touches you. You move differently now, not with arrogance, but with certainty. Not with rage, but with an unshakable knowing. A knowing that you have rebuilt yourself from the ground up. A knowing that their words hold no power here anymore. And they notice, the same people who laughed, who doubted, who mocked you when you were crawling. Now they fall silent when you entered the room. Now they glance at you, confusion flickering in their eyes. Because this isn't what they expected. They thought you would break. They thought you would fade. They thought their words, their action, their betrayal would define you. But now they don't know what they've created. Now they don't know whether to mock you or fear you, whether to doubt you or respect you, whether to test you again or quietly step aside. And you don't give them the satisfaction of an explanation. You don't waste your breath proving your worth to those who once denied it. Because you are no longer a person desperate for approval. You are a force, and forces do not seek permission. The tension lingers. They feel it as much as you do. Because deep down, they know the version of you they underestimated. That version no longer exists, and the version that stands before them now, they are not ready for what's coming next. There was a time when they saw you as prey, weak, uncertain, easy to dismiss. A time when you flinched at their words, when their doubt wrapped around your mind like chains. But that time is gone. That version of you is dead. You have stepped into something else entirely. You are no longer the hunted. You are the hunter. No longer the victim. You are the warrior. And they feel it. They won't say it out loud. They won't look you in the eye and admit the truth. But it lingers in the way they hesitate now. in the way their laughter has faded, in the way they suddenly choose their words more carefully around you. Because they know. They fear what they cannot control. They fear what they tried to break but couldn't. They fear you. And you? You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. You don't need their acceptance, their validation, their reluctant respect. You are past that now. You have built yourself from nothing. You have crawled through fire, through betrayal, through the kind of pain that should have left you shattered. And yet, here you stand, stronger, sharper, unstoppable. The fire inside you? It's alive now. It's burning with a force they can't comprehend. It no longer flickers, it rages, and they are powerless to stop it. They thought they could doubt you without consequence. They thought they could break you without regret. But now, as they watch you rise, as they witness what they never saw coming, a new reality sets in. They will regret doubting you, because now it's too late to stop what's coming. You are no longer a whisper in the wind, no longer a footnote in their story, no longer the person they could overlook, dismiss, or crush beneath their heels. You are the storm, and they can't escape you now. This is not just a fight. This is domination. This is the reckoning they never saw coming, the force they never prepared for. They tried to silence you, bury you, erase you. But now, your presence is thunder in their bones, a shadow stretching across everything they built. They wrote you off, but now they can't ignore you. Every step you take shakes the ground beneath them. Every move you make is another reminder that they were wrong, that their words, their doubts, their betrayal, it all meant nothing in the face of what you've become. This is not revenge. This is justice, because the world has a way of balancing itself, and those who tried to break others always find themselves drowning in the storms they created. And you are that storm. They will feel it, they will remember it, and there will be no escape. There comes a moment when the noise fades, when the weight of the past finally lifts, when you stop looking over your shoulder, stop wondering if they see you now, if they finally understand what they tried to destroy. And in that silence, in that stillness, a truth rises, one you always knew deep down, but were too blinded by doubt to fully embrace. You never needed them, not their approval, not their validation, not their permission to be great. Because the truth is, their validation was a lie. It was never real power. It was never the measure of your worth. It was a cage, a mirage, a trick designed to keep you small. But now you see through it. Now you understand that the only power that ever mattered was the one that existed within you. You are not what they said you were. You are more. You are not their broken reflection of you. You are not their discarded afterthought. You are everything they refused to acknowledge, everything they feared you might become. And now you walk with a different kind of strength, the kind that doesn't seek validation, the kind that doesn't beg to be seen, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, because you know who you are. And that is freedom, that is power, that is the final break from the past, the last chain shattered, the moment you step into the fullness of what you were always meant to be, not because of them, but in spite of them. They wanted to see you fall. They wanted to see you break, to watch you crumble under the weight of their doubt. But now they are forced to watch you rise. There is no greater act of defiance than your success, no louder response than the silence that follows when they realize they lost. Not because you fought them, but because you outgrew them. You push back, harder than they ever expected, not with words, not with anger, not with revenge, but with relentless, unstoppable success. You move forward, untouched by their opinion, unaffected by their past betrayal. And that is what haunts them the most, because they expected a war. They expected you to beg, to break, to burn yourself out trying to prove them wrong. But instead you just win. You build. You thrive, you conquer, and they are left in the shadows, watching, regretting, realizing they were never the ones in control. The final words ring in their minds long after you've walked away. They tried to push you down, but now they will see you push back. And the silence that follows, it isn't yours, it's theirs.